So for kind of anybody who's not like a soccer fan or doesn't follow the Premier League, can you explain a little bit of why we're wearing black right now?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So today we're wearing black just to kind of in solidarity with the United fans who are in England. So today was like a blackout day that the fans organized essentially to protest the ownership of the club. So specifically the Glazers. They've been like in the ownership position of Manchester United for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
and they've essentially brought the club to its knees financially. They like did the typical like financial thing, I guess, where it's like you take out a loan to make a massive purchase, but the
Mm.
loan is against that company. So like they took out a loan to purchase Manchester United,
Right.
and that
Okay.
loan was like given to Manchester United, not them, right? So like they essentially passed on the debt of their ownership of the club
Uh,
to the club. So now the club um, obviously doesn't have like money, doesn't have like hasn't done like upgrades in a while, like to the stadium itself, and so that's essentially what the fans are protesting because typically with ownership, especially with a sports team, like the owners would be investing money in
right.
like to the club. Obviously, like the intention is to make money for sure, but you obviously have to like spend money to do that.
Right. Of
But
course.
yeah, so the Glazers have just been extracting money out of Manchester United every single year. They've been the only owners in the Premier League that just like extract money out of the club.
Just like stealing from the club,
Yeah,
basically.
essentially to like benefit themselves. So like kind of sad to see. But yeah, so that's what the Man United fans were protesting, and that's what was going on outside of Old Trafford today. And so that is why we are wearing black. And if you obviously we watched the game,
Right.
so around the stadium, like you could see a lot of people were wearing black, and
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't like a ton of red being worn, which is like typically what you would see
Of
for a
course,
game
for
at
a
Old
Manchester
Trafford.
United
Yeah,
game,
just
of course,
because
especially at Old Trafford.
yeah, for the home colors. But so yeah, so we're wearing black just kind of in solidarity with the fans because we also like would like to see the club turn around, and that starts kind of from the top and will work its way down. But like the ownership does need to change, so
Yeah.
that's why that's why we're wearing black today.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely, it's important for the ownership of the club to be backing the club as well.
Yeah, facts.
Hello, this is Sid and Millie Chats. I'm Sid,
I'm Millie.
and we invite you to be a fly on our wall. Well, we're going to be doing something similar again. We watched two Manchester United games this
Mhm.
week. Do you want to talk about both games, or I
Yeah,
guess who did we play first? What were the games that,
yeah.
and
I
what were the
guess
outcomes, I
yeah.
guess?
Well, this week, United played Real Sociedad in the Europa League, the first leg of that, head to head, and they tied. And then they played Arsenal today, and also tied 1-1.
Mm-hmm. In the
Yeah, in
Prem,
the Prem.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, to summarize both the long and short of probably both results is that like I guess maybe we shouldn't summarize both of them. They were different, but safe to say like the Real Sociedad game, it's just like not good enough,
Yeah.
right? Just not enough like control, not enough like creativity, not enough like finishing, like all of the things that we expect from a Manchester United team, we're just not seeing,
Yeah.
quite frankly. So like Ruben's formation, the build up, hit the way that the team attacks, like all of it is just so slow, it's so
Mm-hmm.
methodical that a 10th place team in Spain, which again, not to say anything about Real Sociedad because I mean they're better in Spain than we are in England, so um, it's not really like the place on the table doesn't
Doesn't
necessarily
matter.
mean much.
Right.
It's not a team that should be giving United like that much of a tough time, right?
Right.
Like they were outpossessed us, outpassed us in the first half. Like it's just like that isn't the reality of like how United should be playing.
Right.
Um,
Like they should be dominating those games and
yeah,
scoring multiple
a
times, not
bunch.
just
Yeah,
once.
yeah. So yeah, so I guess like I again, it was the away leg, whatever. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say at least they got the 1-1 tie, and at least we can hopefully move forward in that competition.
Right.
Which ironically, Ruben has already written off as not mattering, despite literally the entire season coming down to this.
Millie, we're gonna win the Premier League someday.
Yes, someday. Yeah.
So don't
which I
worry
guess,
about the Europa League.
Yeah. And on your point about the Premier League, that's like a great time to just segue into this like Premier League game we just watched against Arsenal. Which again is the same thing. It's just like not good enough. I mean, I'm sorry, but for the first half, United went into halftime winning 1-0.
Right.
The only shot on target was Bruno's free kick that he blasted into the back of the net.
Right.
Obviously, shout out to Bruno Fernandes.
Well, of course, I mean,
fantastic free
goal,
kick. I mean, so good. Like the guy, but here's my thing about it. It's like these moments of individual brilliance from Bruno and before he got injured from Ahmad. It's just like you can't stake your managerial career on that.
No, because it's not like that's not about the team.
No,
like you said, it's moments of individual brilliance.
Facts.
There's no build up. There's no passing to like no assists. Nothing that is getting them any. I guess like team.
Exactly.
Goals.
And to your point, it's like the foul that led up to Bruno's goal was literally route one, long ball over the top, because that's all we do now. That if you've been watching the last 26 games of Ruben Amorim's style of football, that basically is what we
just
see.
The long balls. Yeah.
So we just dump the ball long, hope to pick up the second ball. We got lucky this time, did pick up the second ball. And yeah, it was that like transition that led to the foul to the free kick.
Right.
But it's like, again, it's not good football, right? We weren't passing through them. We weren't quick on a counterattack. It was nothing like that. We literally got trapped in a tough position at the back and had to just boot the ball long to be safe, essentially.
Right.
And that, and that is how like the goal came. And again, like, yes, it's on one hand, you want to be a team that's opportunistic and can capitalize on anything. But on the other hand, it's like we're 26 games into Ruben's era, and what is the philosophy?
Right.
What are we trying to achieve? Like, like the football is bad. Like there's no style. There's no cohesiveness. Terrible to watch.
Yeah.
So it's just not there. And then his mindset also is just so negative. It's just not what you expect or want from a Manchester United manager.
Yeah.
Talking about we have to survive this game. Are you
know.
Kidding me?
That shouldn't be the mindset.
Are you kidding
going
me?
Into a game
Arsenal is like one of our historic rivalries. We should be wanting to crush them every single time we play them. And that's what I'm saying. It's like if you don't have a winning mentality for every single game that we're playing, I mean, you're just not the guy for the job. I'm sorry.
No, like, you shouldn't be managing a club if you're not thinking every single game we're going to smack this team and beat them and like move forward or move up or whatever. Like
just like
that should be the mindset no matter who your players are, no matter what your formation is.
Fully agree.
That should always be the mindset going into a game.
Definitely, 100%. It's just like that should have felt like a loss. You know what I mean? Tying Arsenal.
Yeah.
That is that I like idealism of Manchester United. That's why there are so many fans wearing black. That's why there is such a big protest, right? Because that is the intrinsic belief of being a Manchester United fan and supporter and what you would expect from the coach or a player or whatever. It is the understanding that you are expected to be the best, to win every game.
Yeah.
And it's not like to set an unrealistic expectation, but it's just like if you have that mindset, you will play better. You will have elevated performances.
Of course.
Because you are thinking that. Like I guarantee you if there was a manager that was hungry and was saying we're about to smack Arsenal, they could say goodbye to their title chase dreams today. We're ending it at Old Trafford. They're done for. I can't wait for them to get here and we're going to ruin their day. Like, that's what I want our manager to be saying.
100%.
Like, they're a rival. And it's like, where even is that animosity?
Yeah,
where is
passion, the heart? Where is it?
Yeah, all the stuff we were promised.
It just feels like he doesn't actually care.
Yeah.
He's just lost the plot.
Yeah.
Just has gone to a point of I feel like no return.
Yeah, I mean, there's just very minimal passion. I feel like you could hear like the frustration multiple times again in Old Trafford when the attack is so slow and the build-up is so slow and we're not even breaking them down, and then we turn and go backwards and then we have to ping the ball long again. It's just like the fans also don't recognize what you're trying to do. So it's just like that is also like the disconnect. You're trying to defend your idea of football and your idea of what your formation is supposed to look like, but we're not even getting glimpses of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
We don't get any glimpses in a whole 90-minute game of any good football.
Well, right. And today, like one of the things that you had mentioned was how compact.
Oh God. Yeah.
They were as well.
So, I mean, it's just like, we have all 11 guys, including Xerxes, who's supposed to be our highest guy, all 11 of them compact in the final 1/4 of the field. Literally not even a yard outside of United's, maybe 2 yards from the top of the 18-yard box. And our entire 11 is sat in that space.
That's just insane. It just doesn't make sense. Because if we get the ball, where are we going with it?
Thank you.
I say exactly. If they get the ball, where are they going?
Exactly. And that is the point. There is nothing we can do when we win the ball, which is why anytime we win the ball, we either have to immediately go backwards and hope the other team drops off so that we can then do the same thing, or we immediately just kick the ball right back to them, right? And how many times did that happen today?
So many.
10, 15? It's just like, it's not a style and it's not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? The first half, for passes, what was it? Manchester United had like 160 and they had like 340 passes. So, that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And like, I guess like my thing for like Ruben and, you know, Sir Jim, who said he grew up being a Manchester United fan. And like, my question for Ruben would be like, are you even a fan of this club? Do you even, are you aware, have you watched any tape of like previous stuff, any of the previous documentaries, like any of that historic filmage? Like you talked about the tour when you first got to United that you took and walked through the stadium, but have you watched any of the film and stuff? Because I do think the manager has some responsibility in upholding the ideas of a club.
100%.
So just like, you know, he passed a comment after the game today about, you know, maybe it's not what the fans want to see, but, you know, it's the result. We got like a result and results will come. And it's just like, no, like fans should not pay to go see a 14th place team play terrible, boring, no attacking, hard to watch football just for your ideas that you think are gonna. I don't even know.
100%, and it's also just so interesting, like bringing it back to your point of him not really having that connection to the club, not really like fitting in with what they, or I guess like what Manchester United is, and like what that should embody. Yeah. And it's interesting because obviously it's a job for him.
It's a job.
And I think about even like us in our jobs. Yeah. We have to like uphold the culture and like, you know, have that sense of morale and be like, you know, excited and happy and show that sort of face. And like this person who's in a much higher regard to, and like kind of, I mean, a public figure in the soccer world and in England and in Europe and all over the world, I guess. Like, he should have that same sort of mindset. We've seen people get fired, like, in a corporate job for not being, like, holding up the culture of the company standards or whatever. So it's, like, interesting seeing someone in a much higher position and, like, a much more powerful, I guess, position acting like this and not upholding the values and the culture of the like overall like company, I guess. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, United's identity like throughout history has always been like an attacking brand of football. High risk, high reward, but like that is what the club is known for. So that's what people are filling out
one of the largest stadiums in England every single week to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see their team attacking. They want to see their players taking shots. They want to see crosses. They want to see goals, right? Like that's what people are going to see. It's also like an entertainment factor. So just like, I think it is a bit like, again, delusional of Ruben to just be like, oh no, like that's not what matters. I don't care if it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's impossible to watch. Like it's worse. It's worse than he's describing. And like, yeah, I think after 26 games into the job, I mean, like you were saying, if you relate it to the corporate world, right? Like say you've had 26 projects in a new role.
Yeah.
And you've done below average or very poorly on all 26 projects in your new role. Like you can't keep blaming the guy who was doing the projects before you anymore, right? Because you've had 26 projects to do. Every single game has been an individual task that has been something that he could have influenced well.
100%.
And again, that's what I'm saying. We don't see a style of football. We don't see any imposition. We don't even see his ideas on the field. It's just garbage. They just sit back and we get beat up by every team we play. And then we hope that someone has some individual brilliance that will bail us out. It's just like, at least with our last administration, we were getting a good 20, 30 minutes of football where you're like, oh my God, they're playing so well today. What's happening? And then
I know,
it'd be like a fall off or something.
Right.
But at least there were glimpses of what Ten Hag wanted to do.
Yes.
We don't see any glimpses of what Ruben wants to do or what he's trying to do.
Well, right, because I feel like in almost every single game that we watched, I feel like under Eric Ten Hag, we would hear the commentators mention how Manchester United would always dominate for the first 15 minutes of the game. And then it's like, okay, what happened after that? But you would still have those moments or like those little, I guess, clusters of time. Yeah. Where you're actually seeing like how the team can play.
Exactly.
And like you're still feeling like at least a little bit excited to watch the games. Like it's heartburn, but you don't know what's going to happen. When we're watching these games, we're watching them and expecting them to lose now.
Yeah. Well, it's like the expectation isn't there, but it's also like the excitement isn't there. And it's mainly due because the brand of football that we're seeing is so poor, like even worse than before, which is crazy. Like I tweeted it the other day, but it's just like, it was almost an impossible job to do, but he has actually made them a worse team. I do think that again is a reflection on the manager, because how is it that almost every player has regressed?
It just doesn't make sense.
Every single one.
How are they all worse?
Every single player. Like, I'm sorry.
It's
like,
telling.
Like,
yeah, it's very telling to see how Rashford is playing.
Yeah.
Under a different manager on a different team.
And Anthony also.
And Anthony as well. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Interesting like comparisons to see. Getting out of maybe like a toxic environment and like, obviously a little bit of a toxic manager, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, we heard the reports before, and I mean, we had mentioned it before in previous videos about him punching TV screens, punching lockers, screaming.
Sitting and not engaging.
So it's just like...
What was the video you sent me of him, like, during training?
There's a training video that got released.
He was just, like, on another field, basically, kicking a ball in circles.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're the manager of the club.
Yeah.
And you're just off by yourself, feeling sad and feeling dejected. Woe is me, and you know, like
it's pretty abysmal. But I guess let's transition for a more positive note, because today there were some good performances. Definitely. There were some players that definitely showed out today. So I definitely want to give them their flowers, because in all the darkness and despite all the like stuff that's going on, when Ruben leaves and the next manager comes in, these are the players they'll be working with, right? So we know that having faith in the team and the core of like the group is really essentially the best way to move forward.
100%. Yeah.
But I think starting off with like the youngest player who's a big standout today would be Heaven. Mm-hmm. Aiden Heaven got subbed on at halftime for Euro. Yeah. Euro was also playing really well. Euro had a great game today, but I think he picked up a little bit of a knock. And so Heaven came on at halftime, and Heaven dominated.
He was. I mean, I even saw at one point like him yelling to other players, like kind of trying to direct them.
Exactly.
Which is really cool to see. I feel like there's a lot of, and I feel like we've talked about as well, like hesitation and second guessing, but I feel like communication and talking to each other is going to help.
It's the best way to get through it, for sure. Definitely. And he definitely showed that he's got great potential, had a great game, and that was against his former club, who he just left. Right?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, so he left Arsenal due to not getting first team opportunities. And now, obviously, got to play 45 minutes against them, and did fantastic. So that sucks for Arsenal. Great news for Man United, because at 18... I think we've got a center back for potentially the next decade, if we're being honest, potentially longer. So great work with that. And him and Euro will probably be that pairing whenever United swap back to a traditional back four with whoever the next manager is. We'll probably see that Aiden Euro combination as a center back pairing, and I think that would be fantastic as a group. Again, for the long term,
it's exciting to have little things to like kind of look forward to, or at least like grasp onto during this kind of period of turmoil
of just pure darkness that we're in. But so Aiden was fantastic. Who else? Collier, when he came on, really held his own. That kid's got great potential. Great to see him back from his injury also. So hopefully he'll be getting more minutes in the near future. But he did really well. Up top, I think big shouts to Garnacho today. Today was Garnacho's day. And I think anybody who watched the game would agree that he was primarily our only attacking threat. I mean, the only person who was picking up the ball and like dribbling at people and creating that danger. He earned the free kick, which led to Bruno's goal. He kind of like nicked the ball off the guy. So, so Garnacho, fantastic day for him. And this is kind of what you want to see more of him. Again, Ruben's structure doesn't create a lot of clear-cut opportunities for Garnacho as an attacking player. But at least with the scraps that were available today, Garnacho was able to make the best of them.
He did have a good day. I agree.
He was our most dangerous player.
Heard his name a lot. Definitely saw him doing a lot on the fields.
Also, I think it's important just to shout out Xerxes. He definitely maybe in like the midweek game was maybe more of like a standout-esque, but I mean, the guy is just fantastic in between the lines. The composure on the ball, his ability to like beat people is really important. I think today, once again, we see like the manager just not putting players in positions for them to succeed. So we saw Xerxes thrown up in the number 9 position, which we know he's not a player who's going to be holding off defenders and flicking on headers. But for whatever reason, that's what his manager decided was going to be his role for today. He struggled because he was playing in a terrible position, out of position. Didn't allow him to flourish and do what he was able to do midweek.
What position was he playing midweek?
He played, so it's like a 10. So like Hoyland is like the number 9, the highest guy, and then he's like the next one, back of like that front 3. So like that essentially. With how they played today, Xerxes was that high guy, and it's just not. He wants to be that 9.5, playing in between the lines, helping connect, and he just wasn't able to do that because he had to be the one trying to get on the end of all these random clearances. I mean, anyway. So finally, not finally. I think Casemiro had a pretty good game today. I think Casemiro coming back in, his experience, super important. I mean, again, there's a lot we could say about the functionality of the midfield, but we'll just leave it. It's just not a lot of positivity, not a lot of positive things to say about that. But then I think like Bruno Fernandes, obviously the set piece was amazing. It was a great finish, but also just his work rate throughout the game. He's everywhere for the club. He is the club. With that, I mean, literally, if you took away Bruno Fernandes's involvements since he joined the club, I mean, we probably already would be in the second tier. So, the guy's big shout out to Bruno Fernandes. He's irreplaceable. And he is a Premier League legend. I mean, he will be. Obviously, he's still playing. But,
well, right.
But he will be a Premier League legend, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it will be impossible for him not to be regarded as one.
100%. Yeah. I mean, he's done so much.
Yeah, so much. And today just highlights the person that he is. He shows up on these days, right? Like his goal, the free kick, it was all out of nothing. Against the run of play, but you still could see that passion from him and saw how much it meant to him. Hey, buddy. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we had some good performances.
I mean, a lot of good performances. I mean, you mentioned probably 6 players too.
Okay, yeah.
Because we had Heaven, Collier, Garnacho, Cas, Bruno.
Yeah. So
I'm probably forgetting someone, but I say that to say, like, regardless of the team as a whole, we're still recognizing and noticing bright spots and good, I guess, performances.
Yeah, 100%. So we say it every time now, but remain hopeful that performances will get better. Remain hopeful that at some point we'll see whatever style of football has been promised us. We're still waiting, but I mean that's basically all.
Yeah,
it was just a really bang average week, week for United. But the message remains that the Glazers need to sell the club full sale only, and allow a club to rebuild from the top down without debt and without like false leadership.
100%.
So anyway, those were our thoughts on Manchester United's results against Real Sociedad in the Europa League and Arsenal in the Premier League. Both were ties, so average results, we'll take it, I guess. That's kind of the new status quo around here, unfortunately. We'll see if that changes anytime in the near future. But
if you made it this far, thanks for tuning in, and
we'll see you next time.
Peace. Bye. Thanks for watching.